Well, good afternoon, everyone, and we want to welcome you all. I'm Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture at USDA, and we appreciate your joining us by this technology today. And we love to do these in person because it's a celebratory occasion for these types of awards in rural America and what it will mean to the citizens there. But frankly, if you are able to connect and to participate in this today, you're one of the wonderful people that already have this kind of service, but it's hard to imagine this day and time. Over 21 million Americans do not. These are the Americans who have been having to transport their kids to town, to the library, or maybe a parking lot to do their homework or research. It's the people who have to drive sometimes miles to the doctors because telemedicine's not available in that way. We don't have e-commerce and others. So what we're talking about today with rural broadband is truly transformative. And we want to thank our participants, our recipients today for their application. We look forward to hearing about their program later today. I'm honored today to have Michigan Senior Senator Stabenow with us, and she'll speak to us in just a moment. But it's a thrill to understand. She was just telling me about early on in the Upper Peninsula how because of the density there and the distances from people, it was an early provider, an early adopter of this kind of technology. But now we need it everywhere. I think the COVID-19 pandemic has showed us that, frankly, this is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Now with distance learning, with telemedicine, with e-commerce, with precision agriculture, there's so many uses here that we are becoming more and more dependent on providers such as the two recipients today to provide this service. I remember I was just past the generation that got the rural electrification in Georgia there, but I heard my parents talk about that and what a sight it was when that first light bulb from the ceiling was clicked on and you'd have to use oil lamps. So this is just a modern day version of that for people who've had no connectivity or at least very limited connectivity can now participate in the global commerce. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're empowering rural, innovative, creative people to use their talents and resources to meet the world demand in the world marketplace in that way. So I'm excited about this today, and I'm excited about these people who will benefit from that. It's an amazing value proposition today here with about $22 million investments going to reach 7,100 Michigan households. That's fiber to the home. That's a cityfied type of service. You don't these rural customers won't have to back up to anyone regarding the kind of speeds they're going to get with this fiber to the home, with full services of video and other types of services they can provide through the fiber. So we're happy to see this today. The Congress has appropriated initially $600 million. We leveraged that through loan grants and loans to about, I think, Chad, $757 million initially. And Chad will tell us about the other remaining appropriation, $1.1 billion, has recently closed applications there. So we're trying to reach all across the United States. There are a lot of rural communities that could really benefit from this, but we're delighted today, Senator Stabenow, that these two providers in Michigan made the application, investing their own money, leveraging the public money in order to make this available for their constituents, and their customers. So we're delighted to have that. And Senator Stabenow, I'm delighted to have you on the line with us today. And please let me introduce your senior senator, Senator Debbie Stabenow.
To thank you for being part of this today, for reaching out to Michigan, for your leadership on the ReConnect program. This is so very, very important. I know you understand that, and we were talking about it before. I'm really pleased that 2 years ago, working together, we were able to get $600 million into the bipartisan budget that passed for the ReConnect program, and that now we're able to announced $22.5 million going to Southwest Michigan, Berry County Services and Southwest Michigan Communications, to two important entities that are going to be able to provide really, really important services. And we all know how important high-speed internet is, but it now is really on display as more and more folks are needing to do business at home. Students are doing schoolwork at home, and we are seeing what our farmers need in terms of connection and communities and so on. And so this is an area where I'm hopeful that even in the midst of a challenging healthcare pandemic, that we can come through this and on the other side be in a better position in terms of technology and be connected for the future, things that we need to be doing anyway. And Mr. Secretary, as you were saying, I mean, the issues around telehealth, which are so critical, as well as education and higher ed and businesses and what our farmers need and so on. This is important. This really is infrastructure. When we say infrastructure, people talk about roads and bridges and so on, but high-speed internet is a critical part of our infrastructure moving forward. And I'm excited about this project and about ways that we can connect all of Michigan moving forward, because this really is the effort that's going to make sure there's a level playing field for all of our businesses, all of our children, all of our families and our farmers all across Michigan and the country. So again, really, really pleased to see this $22.5 million. And we look forward, Secretary Perdue, to actually having you physically in Michigan so we can once again show you our beautiful state.
Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to taking you up on that invitation and hopefully come to some of these places where we can enjoy some of this high-speed connectivity there. You're exactly right, Senator. This is infrastructure at its really basic core, and it has the opportunity to really be transformative for the lives that these two companies are going to serve. And at this time, Chad is our administrator of the Rural Utility Services, who has done a wonderful job in administering this program in a very competitive fashion. And while I congratulate the recipients for navigating that, Chad, you and your team did a great job in standing this up. And now we've kind of got the model, and we're going forward with this next $1.1 billion award. So tell us a little bit about what we are getting here locally and what we're getting nationally for this investment today.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, sir. I appreciate your comments. Along with President Trump, your leadership and vision is realized again here today as we announce these two awards for Michigan residents. Like you mentioned, for $22.5 million in 50% loan, 50% grant combination awards that are going to build over 326 miles of fiber to the premises for 7,100 households. These service areas are really ideally suited for the ReConnect program, as these providers are going to deliver, as you mentioned, new opportunities for precision ag, for distance learning, telemedicine, advanced manufacturing, and opening new markets for small businesses. The first award today is for Berry County Services Company, who is awarded $11.8 million, including a $5.9 million grant and a $5.9 million loan to construct 152 miles of fiber to the premises to serve 4,305 households. And then the second award today is for Southwest Michigan Communications, who is awarded $10.7 million, including a $5.36 million grant and a $5.36 million loan to construct 174 miles of fiber to the premises to serve 2,864 households in Van Buren and Allegan counties. And again, these projects bring new opportunities to rebuild the nation's infrastructure, as you mentioned, that's going to renew economic growth for rural America. And as you mentioned, we've seen very high demand for broadband nationally. Our second round of funding just closed its application window on April 15th. We had 172 providers seeking $1.57 billion in ReConnect funding. And in those totals, we had 11 providers who met the initial eligibility criteria for the $100 million in CARES Act funding. So now we're in the public notice period for all those applications, and we're looking forward to completing our service area validation process so that we can continue to expedite funding for those areas. So with that being said, sir, I'd like to turn it back to you.
Well, thank you, Chad. And we are delighted today to welcome and congratulate the recipients of these awards. And we look forward to seeing the deployment of those, the fiber to the home. I think that if I'm able to make it up there, these people who receive this service are probably going to throw a party for you guys when they find out the difference of what they had and what they're getting now. But let's begin with initially with David Stoll, who's the General Manager of Barry County Services. And congratulations, David. Why don't you speak to us?
Hello, and thank you, Secretary Perdue. My name is David Stoll, and I'm the General Manager of Barry County Services Company. Barry County Services, which is the parent company of Barry County Telephone and MEI Telecom, has been offering telecommunication services to areas of Barry County for over 100 years. But more specifically, in the last 20 years, Barry County Services has been proudly providing broadband internet access to both rural businesses and rural residential areas. As has been said, internet access is obviously a necessity for communities to attract new business, for healthcare, telemedicine, as well as for students for use in their education. But for many families across the country, and especially in our very own Barry County, the last few months have shown us just how vital the broadband access truly is. So the USDA ReConnect program has provided us an opportunity to expand affordable and reliable internet access to additional rural areas of Barry County. In the coming years, Barry County Services will use the ReConnect program to deploy fiber to the home, and the project will serve eligible underserved areas in the following townships and villages: Irving, Carlton, Woodland, Castleton, Hastings, Rutland, Yankee Springs, Hope, Baltimore, and Maple Grove. We will be installing over 175 miles of new broadband fiber, and this means so many more additional rural households and businesses will have access to internet services that were previously underserved. I want to sincerely thank Secretary Perdue and the USDA, our Michigan policymakers, our board of directors, our very hardworking employees, and especially our customers for really believing in us and giving us the opportunity to serve our community. I really look forward to the expansion of internet services in Barry County and to the positive impact it will undoubtedly make in our rural community. Thank you.
David, thank you. You know, one of the things we haven't really talked about is the social aspect of connectivity in this period of time. We know that many people are talking about Zoom connectivity, FaceTime, and others. And if you don't have the connectivity, you can't connect. I'm a grandfather of 14. That means if my grandchildren lived in your area, they could FaceTime them, right?
Right. I have an interesting anecdote. I just received an email to someone I invited on this call, and the response to me was, very sorry, we can't attend it. We don't have internet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, next we want to go to our next recipient, and we want to thank him for the participation of that. And Steve Schultz, General Manager of Bloomingdale Communications. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Secretary Perdue. I'd like to take a moment to say thanks to the many people who have helped us in this process. First, thanks to Secretary Perdue for his amazing leadership on rural broadband service. I saw him speak last year and was truly impressed how well he understood the issues. He especially understood the key importance of rural broadband for residents, businesses, and especially agribusiness. I'd like to thank our Michigan delegation, including Senator Stabenow, Peters, and Representative Upton, for their continued support of our company and also our industry. Thanks to our state representatives, Whiteford, Griffin, and Iden, along with State Senator Nesbitt. Also, special thanks to Pam Metelsky at the governor's office. Thanks to all of our Bloomingdale staff for their help preparing this application and the work that'll need to be done in the future. Also, thanks to our consultants Vantage Point, and thanks to the RUS staff, including Farwa Nakwai and Kristen Lowe, along with our field rep, Tony Tyndall. Bloomingdale Communications, through our Southwest Michigan Communications subsidiary, along with Bloomingdale Telephone Company, have been a leader in fiber to the home deployment in Southwest Michigan. We're lucky to have this help from the Rural Utilities Service along the way. We're really excited about being awarded the ReConnect grant and loan. We know that this will be a big challenge building and connecting approximately the 2,500 locations in rural Van Buren and Allegan counties with fiber to the home. We've been hearing consistently and more loudly from residents in the rural areas near where we currently serve that they are desperate for better service. I can tell you that just today, within the last 2 hours, I've had residents in some of the areas on the map that we're receiving this ReConnect funding for. They contacted me just within the last 2 hours, asking, you know, when are we going to have service? Is there a chance that we're going to have service in our area? And I responded to them, we're going to have a press release just today, and we're going to get this thing going. And so all of a sudden, it's become real to us. One of the things that we've all come to learn, just like Senator Stabenow and Secretary Perdue have been talking about, is that everybody needs great broadband service, no matter where you live. Our company has connectivity to 11 school districts, 5 libraries, and a multi-library system. And just within the last few months, we've worked to establish 16 free Wi-Fi hotspots within our service territory to residents who might not have connectivity. Well, you know, we all know that that's good and that helps, but that's not a permanent fix. It's only a fix for now. The real answer is great and affordable broadband service to connect every home. The ReConnect project helps us to do that. What you can't see on the map that you see is that we currently have a service territory that's all through the middle of that, from really the north and south all the way up and down. So we're really glad to be part of this program, and we look forward to providing modern broadband services and connectivity to people in all of these areas. And thanks again to Secretary Perdue and also our legislators for helping us to do this.
Well, thank you, Steve. You mentioned another component that's really important and actually played a part in some of the scoring of that, and that's state participation. We do want to encourage. I hope your state legislators who are on the line today will understand how important it is, the partnership between federal and state and local governments in order to get this done. So we're very grateful for the appropriation that Senator Stabenow was part of in the budgeting process, and then the additional $1.1 billion that we hope will serve other communities in Michigan and around the country. And we look forward to seeing the difference in lives of innovation and creativity that this new tool can benefit people in rural areas. I don't think it's any longer can we afford the digital divide based on what we've seen the last few weeks of the need for connectivity. So David, Steve, thank you and your companies for doing a great job hanging in there, going through this application process, and we wish you all the best as you deploy these resources to your customers and constituents there. And I know they'll be applauding Senator Stabenow for that new service as well. So thank you all. Thank you for joining us, and God bless you.
Thank you, Secretary.